everyone. Welcome to Georgetown Capital's Investment Education, and this is another important installment in our series as we seek to educate the Guyanese public about finance and their investment options. And with me this morning is the Managing Director of the Guyana American Merchants Bank, as well as a Director at GBTI, Mr. Richard Isava, and the Manager of Finance at the Guyana American Merchants Bank, Mr. Ganesh Jaikaran, and they will be taking us through investment and stockbrokering at the Guyana American Merchant Bank. So I want to invite you guys to share the live with your friends and families to ensure that as much persons as possible can benefit from this important educational session that we have this morning. Now, as we begin our conversation, I want to thank you guys for being here. It's definitely a privilege to be among such distinguished and educated professionals in the field. And I want to direct my first question to Mr. Isava, who is probably the eldest statesman on the team. What has your journey and your history been like in the investment and in the finance field?
All right, thank you so much for choosing Guyana America's Merchant Bank, and we appreciate you coming to our offices. To give you a brief history, I started back in 1989 as a licensed Series 7 stockbroker in Miami. And over the last 30 years, I've worked in banking and various parts of finance, investment advisory, and managing mutual funds, creating structured notes, and many different types of financial products here in Guyana, in Trinidad, Jamaica, and Barbados. And it's been quite an interesting journey to see how the markets have evolved. And now coming here to Guyana in 2012 and been here ever since, hoping and we're working together with the Guyana Stock Exchange to try to become an electronic, to install an electronic trading platform, which should hopefully come within the next year, and really to upgrade the whole system of financial services and investments on the Guyana Stock Exchange. As Ganesh would attest to, and he trades on a weekly basis, our stock market has been one of the best performing stock markets in the world. I always tell people, every day you miss an opportunity when you don't invest. If you had invested 15 years ago in Damara tobacco shares at $10, that stock now trades at $2,000. And even on top of that growth, you've also been receiving dividends consistently, tax-free. All dividends paid on the stock exchange in Guyana are tax-free. What a better deal. Of course, the stock market is not for everybody. The first thing that they told us when I became a broker in 1989, the stock market is a place where you strap on a seatbelt, put on your helmet, and get ready for a rough ride. As the market trends show everywhere, in Guyana, in the US, anywhere, any stock market is an up and down roller coaster ride. You got to be able to tolerate risk. So when Exxon shares, for example, in 2018 went from $70-something to $50, the average man decided he was going to sell. Berkshire Hathaway and the big investors, Bill Gates and everybody, that's when they loaded up on it. That you could buy Exxon shares at $30-something. Now it's back to what, 58, almost $60? Yeah. And that is in a sense the stock market. Exxon is one of the biggest companies in the world. And even their share prices are susceptible to market fluctuations. Nobody, no person, no company is immune to the trends of the market. It's almost like the tide. It goes up and then goes down, and goes back up. You stay in the long term, you should be all right.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Isava. And like you guys would know, we had the Managing Director of the Guyana Stock Exchange, Mr. George Edwards, thank you. And he would have shared with us recently as well about some of their future plans in terms of modernizing and making the stock market more convenient and more investor friendly, particularly to young people who over the past few years, I would say, have a growing appetite for investment. Now, we have a young man here, and I would want to ask you, why is it important for young people to become investors, and what are some of the benefits of becoming an investor at a young age?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me here. One of the key reasons a young person should become an investor is that it helps you to build that nest egg for future. So, I mean, as a young person, you're attracted to spend your money in all sorts of, near-term, non-productive things, So, becoming an investor, investing in the stock market is one way to grow your money over the period of time. So, in years to come, you want to start a family, you want to buy a house, you want to buy that nice car, right? You start investing, putting your money to work now. So, at that point of time, when you're ready to acquire those things, you have somewhere to tap into. You might say, hey, but let me just put my money in the bank to save, right? But there's a good and a bad to that. The good thing is what you put in, you will get out, right? There's no more than that. But in the market, it can offer you much more returns, right? You can grow your money. I mean, not to say you can't lose it, right? But once you're in it for the long term, right? I mean, the records will show it grows. Everything grows over a period of time, right? The chances of, a market downtrend for 10, 15 years is highly unlikely. The market always takes a dip, but over time it recovers. And being young, you have the time. You can put aside your money for the next 5 to 10 years, the next 3 to 6 years, right? As a young investor. And again, it helps you to secure your financial, standing.
Beautiful.
And you can, grow your wealth from there.
Excellent point. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, investing is not a get-rich-quick scheme or a microwave type of thing whereby you invest 100,000 today and you get $1 million tomorrow. It's a long-term process that can ensure that you secure your family and your future financial life and see your money grow. As you mentioned, the dividends that you earn are much more than you earn from your interest at the bank. So I would always advise persons to take some of the money out of your bank account and put it into purchasing some shares, and you can see that money appreciate over time. Now, for persons that may want to know about stock brokerage and why is it that if you want to invest, you have to go through a stockbroker? What exactly is a stockbroker and what do stockbrokers do? Right.
So the brokerage account allows you to be able to buy shares on the stock market. There are two ways of buying shares of companies. So if you know of someone that holds shares in a particular company, you and that person go directly to the share registrar of that company and transfer those shares, right? But in most cases, people that want to buy shares, they don't have that kind of relationship or know of anyone that does have shares. So what they do, they come to the brokerage firm, right, who trades on the stock market, right? Us, Merchant Bank, we're one of the 4 brokers in Guyana, and the stock market is a place where these brokers go to and exchange for a price shares of different companies. So an individual who wants to buy shares in Bang Age, for example, you come to us, you say, hey, I want to buy X amount of shares in Bang Age. When we go to the stock market, we meet with the other brokers, we indicate our price and the quantity we would want to buy. Whichever broker have those shares available at the price, we were able to buy them. And once those shares are acquired by us, after some time, you're then issued a share certificate to show your ownership of those shares, and that share certificate is what you keep, when you're ready to sell them back at some point. And
excellent. Now, in terms of the fees and the charges and the commission that persons will have to pay if they want to invest through the Guyana American Merchant Bank, can you share a bit about that process and what it's like?
Sure. So shares are charged for Merchant Bank. Our commission rate is 2% of the cost of the shares. The stock exchange has a fee of 0.425% of the cost of the shares. And then there's a minimum charges of the transfer fee, which the registrar would charge about $100 to $110 Guyana per transfer of shares. So you invest $100,000 in a particular stock, our percentage will be 2% of that. Stock exchange fee will be 0.425% of that fee. All right?
Beautiful. So there you guys have it. It's not that costly. Actually, I would say it's very affordable begin your investment journey. And I would encourage you guys to use the Guyana American Merchants Bank as your investment broker. Now, Mr. Isaba, you would have mentioned that there are 4 companies that do stock brokerage in Guyana. What sets Guyana American Merchant Bank apart from the rest? Why should a person watching choose the merchant bank as their stockbroker?
The merchant bank has a wide level of experience in the staff that are involved in the daily operations of the firm. I myself have been a stockbroker, a licensed Series 7 broker in the US since 1989, and then did active trading in the Trinidad Stock Exchange, and now here in Guyana. We are the only licensed merchant bank in Guyana, so apart from our stockbroking business, we also are the only merchant bank here, simply meaning a merchant bank is a type of bank that does investment banking where, for example, for large projects, project financing, we can syndicate various banks. Let's say, for example, there's a project that costs some 100 million US. No bank in Guyana can do that project on their own because you have what we call a single borrower's limit, and every bank can lend up to their certain percentage of their assets. So what the merchant bank does, we syndicate. We try to create a partnership between the various banks to finance these larger projects. So we're the only licensed bank in Guyana that has that license. We have a dealer license that allows us to buy and sell shares for our own trading book. So you can, as a broker, you can buy and sell shares for customers. As a dealer, you can also buy and sell shares for yourself. We are also one of the few investment advisors where we actually give financial advice to pension plans, statutory funds of insurance companies, and other large institutions like the NIS and other large investors, institutional investors. So apart from the individual man on the street, we also advise large companies and large pension plans.
Excellent. So just want to touch quickly on that aspect of the investment advice and the individual man on the street aspect. Now, persons that are coming in and they want to purchase some shares, they may not know exactly which company may give the best returns and so forth. You guys have the facility whereby you sit down with them and you advise them about various companies and show them certain trends and so forth?
Yeah. So what we would do, we would provide them with a profile sheet.
Okay.
That is on their investment need, which will determine your profile. So it will ask question of your time horizon, what is it that you're looking for, your risk appetite, the level of assets you have to invest. So based on those kind of responses, we will say, hey, look, since you're a medium risk taker, these are the companies we would suggest you look to invest in. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. So that kind of profile we would check on the prospective clients.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Now, not only can you guys use them as one of your stockbrokers, but you can also receive quality professional investment advice on how to navigate the investment waters, as we would say. For persons who may want to invest outside of Guyana's stock exchange, what are some of the options and services that the merchant bank would provide those persons?
Right. So the brokerage account with us allows you to not only trade on the Guyana stock market, but it allows you to trade on the US stock market as well, as we have relationships with brokers throughout the US. So should you be encouraged to buy stocks in Apple, the names that you like, Facebook, Google, Amazon, the brokerage account allows you to get access to those companies through our brokerage services on the US stock market.
Excellent.
And also within the Caribbean too.
And within the Caribbean.
Excellent.
Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados. So if you have interest in those markets as well, the brokerage account allows you to get access to those markets.
Excellent stuff. Now, I think we would have covered quite a lot of material this morning, and if you guys have any additional questions, you can always share it with Georgetown Capital, and if we can answer, we will. And if there are questions specific to the merchant bank, I think you guys are on Instagram.
Yeah.
They have an Instagram account. I think it's Guyana American Bank, and You can also check them out at GBTI Kingston location, and you can come and sit and chat with them to learn more about investing in the local and foreign stock exchanges. So before you guys go, is there anything else that you would want to let the Guyanese public know about the Guyana Merchant Bank?
But just to re-emphasize, Guyana America's Merchant Bank is a subsidiary of GBTI and the Bihari Group. So we are all part of that large conglomerate that includes insurance, manufacturing, car dealerships, and so on. So we're all part of a much bigger group. And one of the things we try to promote within the group, for example, somebody wants to get a car loan from GBTI, we encourage them to take the car loan, buy the car from either Toyota or Hyundai, and get your insurance. So package deal. So not only you're dealing with the merchant bank or GBTI, but you're becoming part of a much bigger reach of products and services. In addition to that, what we have created in 2018 is a family of GBTI mutual funds, which is really a portfolio of different assets, including local stocks, international shares, government bonds, that offers investors a simple way to get access to more than just one market. So if you wanted to buy shares in Guyana and you wanted to buy shares in the US and have some government bonds that are giving you current income, the mutual fund is one of those vehicles that can give the Guyanese investor the opportunity to participate in all the markets in one investment. So it's something, another arrow in the quiver of our products and services that helps investors diversify and better fight the market forces, because people always have this misconception that it is a short term, you can make money quickly. It never works that way. The top fund manager in 2019 would not have been the same person in 2020. Sometimes different styles and different ways of investing works, and then the next year, because of market conditions, it changes. So like Ganesh has emphasized, stock market investments are for the long term. Take away the fear and the greed, and you should be okay.
Excellent stuff. Any closing remarks from you, Ganesh?
I would like to emphasize to my young people, start investing early. I mean, you can go back to the Guyana Stock Exchange website. You would see the capital growth of all of these companies over the last 3 years. Guyana is now becoming one of the biggest oil producing country in the South Americas, and that will have a significant economic impact on Guyana, and as a result, the stock market. So the earlier you can get into the stock market, the better for you.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. Isav and Mr. Ganesh, for being here with us, and for all our viewers, particularly our young audience. There's not much else for me to say. You guys have heard it all. Get involved in investing and choose the Guyana American Merchant Bank as your investment advisor and as your stockbroker. And we want to encourage you guys at the Georgetown Capital and all the persons watching to continue to follow us on Facebook at Georgetown Capital. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok for more financial and investment education. And you can also check out our podcast founded by Mr. Gall, Common Sense, and enjoy some additional financial literacy education, so that as Guyana's economy grows and expands, your wealth can grow and expand concurrently with Guyana's economy, and you can live an enjoyable and a safe life with your family and with your friends. So thank you guys for tuning in this morning, and stay tuned for more investment education from Georgetown Capital.